Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to round 6 of the Mazda Road to Indy Championship. Today we are at the beautiful Watkins Glen circuit at what is sure to be an excellent race. Starting on pole, we have the Grimelli of Will Metcalf. Next to him is his teammate James Babcock. Starting second is a Grimelli front row lockout. Third is Rory McDuff in the IDOS car. Fourth on the grid is Francis Zenis. Fifth is Jacob Reed. Sixth is Jason Ho. Starting seventh on the grid is Christian Alfaham. Starting eighth is Eden Laurent. And starting ninth is Riley McKibben. We've also got Kean Donaldson starting from the pit lane. So let's get it going. Let's get it going then. Green, green, green at Watkins Glen. Babcock does not get a good start. Gets 3 wide swamped by Zenis. Zenis up to P2. McDuff 3 wide for the lead. Zenis, McDuff still 3 wide. Everyone goes wide. Metcalf keeps the lead. McDuff second. Zenis third. Babcock fourth. Ho fifth. Alfaham sixth. Laurent seventh. McKibben eighth. Jacob Reed ninth. And Kean Donaldson now 10th. Zenis takes to the grass as everyone tries to get a bit of slipstream down the back stretch here on lap 1. McDuff goes to the inside of Metcalf for the lead. Rory McDuff to the lead. Here comes Francis Zenis and Babcock looking for third, as that's a gulf of Christian Alfaham, and Jacob Reed spins and has a spectacular crash on the back stretch as Rory McDuff leads. Babcock second. Metcalf third, excuse me. Jason Ho fourth, Alfaham fifth, Zenis sixth. As the race starts to settle in just a little bit, we follow our leader Rory McDuff through this sector. Everyone appears to bounce off the wall in that corner, but McDuff is going to come across. He's going to come across the line to lead lap 1 of 35. The fuel window for this track is about 12 laps, so we should be expecting to see 2 pit stops in this race. As Babcock closes right in on Rory McDuff, he's only a car length away. Side by side, Babcock goes to the outside. Babcock tucks into the slipstream. Can he make a move on Rory McDuff? Into the carousel. Let's see, Babcock. He's right there. He cannot make a move. The dirty air here at this track. That's the thing, these fast corners. The fast corners mean that the dirty air is certainly not something to be dealt with lightly, as it were, as Eden Laurent passes. Got ahead of... Oh! Laurent slows. Alfaham gets past Eden Laurent as the 2 Pink Frog Motorsports cars of Riley McKibben and Kean Donaldson at the back. So Babcock, the team boss of PFM, has got to feel great about his driver selections. As we're heading to the end of lap 2 now, McDuff keeping a steady gap towards Babcock as Babcock gets into the wall. Here comes Metcalf for second place. Will Metcalf takes second place. Babcock tries to get it back though. Babcock in the slipstream around the outside in the S's. Can he make it work? Oh, here comes Francis Zenis. What can Zenis do? Zenis makes it 3 wide. Francis Zenis to second place. All this battling for P2 is helping Rory McDuff rightly get away and for the lead here. As Francis Zenis is P2, Babcock is P3, Metcalf is P4, Ho is P5, Alfaham is P6, Laurent is P7, Reed P8, McKibben P9, Donaldson P10. As it appears that McDuff has about a 1-second lead over Francis Zenis at the moment. Well, let's ride on board with Francis Zenis as he goes wide a little bit. He's doing his best to catch Rory McDuff, I'll give him that. Babcock's third now. He's got to be looking for second on Zenis, but the dirty air is just so tragic. Metcalf has fallen off a little bit from Babcock, as on lap 4 now, Rory McDuff leads. Zenis second. Zenis closes right up to McDuff a little bit. Babcock third, Metcalf fourth. Oh, Zenis looking for the lead is Francis Zenis. He's pulling on the Grimellis in a straight line. and on Rory, so it's got to be assumed that he's on lower fuel as they're side by side through the carousel. Zenith looks, dive bombs. Oh, Zenith spins, Francis Zenith spins, and McDuff in the wall. McDuff saves it barely, but Zenith goes down to P5, going behind Jason Ho. As now McDuff leads over the two Gramellis of Babcock and Metcalf. Ho 4th, Zenith 5th. That was not ideal at all for Francis Zenith. He's got to be kicking himself, and he's just making mistakes. Lots and lots of mistakes from that point on. As McDuff has a decent lead over the field. Babcock's catching up fairly quickly, though. It appears Babcock has a slight pace advantage over McDuff at this early stage in the race, but McDuff's clean air certainly will help him to maintain the lead, as the clean air here at Watkins Glen is absolutely crucial, as well as the fact that the gear ratios down this long back straight max out too quickly, which means that it can be hard to make overtakes. But Babcock closes up to McDuff, in fairness to him. It's entirely possible Babcock could overtake McDuff. If McDuff makes a mistake, or if Babcock just gets the run that he needs, he can get past Rory McDuff. And then there's Metcalf, Will Metcalf, the pole sitter for this race, who has won 3 out of the 5 races we've had this season. So he would certainly like to make it 4 here today. But we'll see what he can do. Metcalf seems to always have the pace in these races, but it's just a question of whether he can truly get it done today, because it does seem like McDuff and Babcock have very fast cars today, as well as there's a battle for 4th going on. Zenith goes a little wide. That won't help him catch up to Jason Ho at all, but he makes it work. Now the running order remains McDuff, Babcock, Metcalf up at the front. However, Zenith has gotten past Jason Ho for 4th position, and Jacob Reed is apparently up to 6th position. So that leaves Alfaham in 7th, Laurent in 8th, McKibben in 9th, and Kean Donaldson in 10th. Seems as though the gap is just over a second separating McDuff and Babcock, and a similar gap separating Babcock and Metcalf. Ooh, Zenith. Francis Zenith is going into the pit lane, is he not? He is. That's very early. It's only lap 6. That is a horrendous strategy blunder by Francis Zenith. I cannot even believe he would come into the pits this early. He was running in 5th position. 4th position, actually. He was running in 4th position, just behind Metcalf, and now he's going to get passed by the whole field. However, that's very interesting for strategy, because it is lap 6, and the race is 35 laps long, which means that Zenith is going to have to pit twice more. Everyone else is going to have to make 2 stops as well, which means that Zenith has royally messed up his own strategy. So, unless he gets a C60 or some sort of catastrophic event to our top 3 leaders, Francis Zenith has well and truly screwed himself. But that's Rory McDuff making a slight mistake going into the grass. That'll allow Babcock to catch up slightly. Babcock appears to get a very nice run out of that slow corner at the exit of the boot. So now Babcock, as McDuff goes a little bit wide, so Babcock can slipstream down this straight, stay close through turn 1, and perhaps have a look through down the straight and through the carousel, as Babcock is going to be right there on Rory McDuff. Babcock is going to close down the straightaway. That's what he does, yes, but he can't get close enough because of the gear ratios. That's absolutely tragic. See if he can get anything done round the outside. No, he cannot. He just can't get close enough to put a move on Rory McDuff. Rory McDuff is just driving absolutely flawless today. Oh, Metcalf goes a little bit wide into the grass. That's certainly not ideal. These top 3 have a massive gap on Jason Ho in 4th already, as these top 3 try to slipstream each other down this short little straight. And then Babcock runs a little bit wide. Metcalf takes a slightly cleaner line, but Babcock should have another go on McDuff down the back stretch, possibly. Babcock, can he make a move? Not in this corner, he certainly won't, but perhaps down the straightaway, if he can get close enough. He gets a very nice exit relative to McDuff. Can he do it? Can he make a move? Guess we'll find out. He is right there, Babcock is. McDuff blocks a little bit. Babcock gives McDuff a little bump. Gives him a bump, he does. Can he do it around the outside? No, he can't. He can keep it close, though, so maybe he can make a dive. He doesn't go for the dive. Babcock being smart. Babcock is a very smart racer, I have to say. And making these moves is what he does best, not causing incidents. Being a very smart, clean racer. Both the Gamellis are very good at that. As Jacob Reed is up to 5th, apparently. Oh yeah, because Zenis came into the pit lane and is now running in 8th position. It is interesting to note that Zenis on high fuel is going to lose even more time to the drivers on lower fuel, such as McDuff, Metcalf, Babcock, as we are on lap 10, so these top 3 should be coming into the pit lane in just a lap or 2, if we assume that everyone is 2-stopping, as it won't be possible for anyone to 1-stop, so we've got to assume that since a fuel tank needs to go 11 or 12 laps, that these 2 drivers will come into the pit lane shortly. These 3 drivers, in fact, as Metcalf is still part of that group, but only just, as Ho is in a nice 4th position, Reed is 5th, Alfaham 6th, Laurent 7th, Zenis 8th, McKibben 9th, and Donaldson 10th. Donaldson is actually closing up to Riley McKibben after starting from the pit lane. Donaldson, as he has a little bit of lag there, but Donaldson is closing right up to Riley McKibben. He's actually doing a great job for himself, considering the circumstances. He started perhaps 15 or 20 seconds behind the rest of the pack, and now he's closed up to just a few seconds behind McKibben. As up front, the lead stays the same. Babcock continues to close once again on McDuff, but he just cannot complete a move. It's got to be the most frustrating thing for Babcock inside that race car, because he knows he is faster than Rory McDuff. He just cannot make the move, the strategy, the overtake work. But here we are on lap 11. McDuff has done a fantastic job leading this race so far. He has not put a foot wrong yet. But the race is only a third of the way through, so anything can and may happen. Oh, Metcalf has lost these 2 just a little bit, as Babcock continues to try to close on Rory McDuff. Oh, Babcock, is he slowing? He is. Babcock into the pit lane. Babcock, the first of the lead runners to come into the pit lane. This is very interesting indeed. We need to watch Babcock. Oh, Jason Ho. No, is that Alfaham? No, that's Jason Ho, as well as Jacob Reed in the pit lane also, and Christian Alfaham. So, oh, and the 2 PFMs. Lots of people pit in this lap. Babcock and both Golfs. And Jacob Reed. Does Laurent pit? No. Zenis shouldn't pit yet. But as McDuff appears to have about 2 seconds or so on Metcalf, so that gap stays about the same. Oh, the Golfs double stack. The Golfs and the PFMs both double stack. How embarrassing is that? as Babcock exits the pit lane. And we'll need to see, oh, it appears Donaldson needed to reverse in the pit lane, as the IDOS of McDuff and the Gramelli of Metcalf are both going to have to pit at some point here soon. They both come into the pit lane. McDuff nails the entry, but Metcalf is right there. Need to see where Babcock comes out relative to these two, as well as Eden Laurent, who I believe, having not pitted yet, will now be second for now. But we'll see as McDuff and Metcalf make their pit stops, and Babcock continues to emerge, continues to log laps. Jacob Reed as well, and Zenis, and Ho. McDuff exits the pit lane. Alfaham does too, finally, after being boxed in. Where's Babcock? Where is Babcock on the track? Babcock is heading into turn 1 now. Metcalf is coming out of the pits. It's going to be close for P2, but McDuff is long gone. Babcock down to third as he gets jumped by Will Metcalf in the pit stops. That's certainly not ideal for Babcock. Here comes Babcock once again. Metcalf goes defensive, but battle for position 2. Babcock round the outside is going to get it. Is he? Still side by side. Babcock gets it round the outside. What a spectacular move. As Babcock knew that he needed to take the position from Metcalf, having lost it in the pit cycle. And he takes it with a brilliant move around the outside. However, the gap to Rory McDuff is still quite large. It's perhaps 3 or 4 seconds at this point, because McDuff, for whatever reason, had a much faster pit stop than Babcock did. So Babcock knows that he's going to need to push hard in this stint if he's going to want a chance of overtaking Rory McDuff. Oh, that's not how you push hard, that's how you hit the wall. That's certainly not ideal. As now, the running order sees Francis Zenis in 4th for now, but he still needs to make 2 more pit stops. Jacob Reed is 5th, Eden Laurent is 6th, Jason Ho is 7th, Christian Alfaham is 8th. That is Kean Donaldson in 9th, having overtaken the other PFM of Riley McKibben in the pit stops. So that's certainly not ideal. But it also appears that Christian Alfaham has gone a lap down because of that disaster of a pit stop from the Gulfs. As the Gulfs did not realize that double stacking is a thing, and the 2 Gulf cars do share the same pit box, so that's certainly not ideal for Christian Alfaham, nor for Jason Ho, honestly. But, McDuff makes a slight mistake. Babcock's going to need McDuff to make quite a few more of those if Babcock wants to win this race. The Gramellis also have the lapped car of Christian Alfaham to worry about. I'll have to see if Alfaham lets them through, because lapped cars are eligible to battle to keep their position. It's only a question of whether Alfaham will, in fact, battle. As Babcock goes a little wide, Francis Zenis goes 600 million miles wide. That is an incredible job of going wide by Zenis. As Metcalf's going to look for P2 on Babcock, as Alfaham lets them both through. Good boy, Christian Alfaham. And Babcock still maintaining P2. Metcalf probably doesn't want to do anything to jeopardize the race of his teammate and himself, because Metcalf is a very smart driver. He knows what's on the line, and he does not want to cause any problems. Surely he realizes that Babcock is faster at this moment in time in the race, and that it's no good for Metcalf to take any unnecessary risks, as well as the fact that he perhaps cannot even do so due to all the dirty air and the fact that he hit the wall due to this. As Zenis is P4. Quick update on the running order: Zenis P4, Reed P5, Ho P6, Laurent P7, Alfaham P8, Donaldson P9, and Riley McKibben P10. But Rory McDuff continues to lead. He has led, I want to say, every lap so far, after taking the lead with a brilliant move at the carousel on lap 1. He has led every single lap so far in the race. Babcock maintains P2 as he has had most of the race, but he is slowly catching on Rory McDuff. The gap was 4 seconds. It's now more like 3. Metcalf, Zenis is P4. He'll need to stop again here at some point. Who knows when that will be, though. Reed is P5. Not much of note happening in this race. Ho, P6. Laurent, P7. Alfaham, P8. Donaldson, P9. McKibben, P10. Both Grimelius hit the wall in the background there. That's certainly not what you want. Team boss Eric Kuchenberger has got to be concerned by that, as Francis Zenis hits the pit lane. Not being very aggressive with it, is he? It's interesting to see where he'll come out. Jacob Reed should jump him. Ho will probably jump him as well, but I don't know if Laurent or Alfaham will jump Francis in the pit cycle. Guess we'll have to see. Let's go on board with Jason Ho, perhaps. Yeah, not much of note occurring. Zenis is going to hit his pit box. A stop for fuel takes about 16 to 18 seconds, so Zenis should probably be jumped by Laurent. He might not be jumped by Alfaham, though. In fact, I don't think he will be jumped by Alfaham. As Babcock can see McDuff in his view, he's tantalizingly close, but he's just so far. What can Babcock do to close up on the IDOS of Rory McDuff? This is a question we all ask ourselves, and it's a question of which the answer is unknown. We're about to find out. Who knows what Babcock has up his sleeve, the veteran driver who has not won a race yet this season and would certainly like to. He was unable to capitalize. He's unable to capitalize his pole at St. Petersburg to a win. Would certainly like to do so today. Jacob Reed is up to 4th. And Zenis has actually dropped to 7th, just behind Eden Laurent, so that could be an interesting battle to watch out for. Christian Alfaham in 8th, Donaldson 9th, McKibben 10th. McKibben goes through the wall. That's very interesting. Babcock is right there. Every lap he closes more on Rory McDuff. Oh, he's right there now. He's going to get a slipstream. He is. Babcock closes up. It's perhaps only about 2 seconds now. It was 4 seconds at the beginning of this stint. It is now lap 19 of 35. The race is pretty stagnated at the moment, with McDuff P1, Babcock P2, Metcalf P3, Reed P4, Ho P5, Laurent P6, Zenis P7, Alfaham P8, Donaldson P9, and McKibben P10, I do believe. So we'll just watch the leader, Rory McDuff, as he navigates his way through this beautiful, beautiful circuit. A classic American staple of road racing. As we go through this corner, this difficult corner, the back end does tend to step out a little bit here as McDuff goes through this final corner, which is very fun if you get it right, but McDuff clearly did not, as he slaps the wall just a little bit. Into turn 1, McDuff just takes a nice clean line. He knows that he just needs to not bottle it. If he doesn't bottle it and he has a good second pit stop and keeps the lead, he can win this race. That's all he needs to do, is not bottle it. On board with McDuff now as he catches the lapped car of, I believe that is Riley McKibben in the PFM. This is very interesting now because Babcock is a team boss of PFM. McKibben is Babcock's employee. And what that means, oh, McDuff makes a slight mistake. That is exactly what Babcock needs, is for McDuff to make a few just little mistakes like that for Babcock to be able to really close up to the back of McDuff. Look how much he's closed already. The gap is like a second. This is exactly what Babcock needs. Soon we'll be in the window for the second pit stop. Maybe in a lap or two, we should expect to see McDuff, Babcock, and Metcalf all in the pit lane. As the PFM of McKibben, oh, he lags a little bit. Both PFMs in the pit lane, and the Gemelli Jr. of Eden Laurent appears to have made a mistake and is down to 7th. As Babcock is gaining. He's gaining on Rory McDuff. The gap is only like a second. This is exactly what Babcock needs if he wants to have a chance of either overtaking McDuff or jumping McDuff in the pit cycle. So we go on board with Babcock. Just needs to continue to close here on McDuff if he wants to have an opportunity for the win. Same with Will Metcalf running in 3rd for most of the day. Babcock goes wide a little. Here comes Metcalf, understeer with the dirty air. That is certainly a thing. As Jason Ho is having a nice run in 4th, but Jacob Reed comes into the pit lane along with the 2 PFMs who were already in the pit lane. So that is a sign to me that the green flag, or the pit cycle is very much open, and we need to see what happens here. Babcock pits. Babcock pits. Once again getting the undercut. That did not work out so well for him last time. But maybe it's what Metcalf needs, because now this is crucial. If Metcalf can close up to Rory McDuff while Babcock is in the pit lane and not slowing Metcalf down, this can allow Metcalf to have an opportunity to overtake McDuff and possibly win this race. Was this a strategy call called by the team of Gemelli to pit Babcock a lap early to allow Metcalf to close up to McDuff? No one knows, but let's see if it works out here for Metcalf. As McDuff is P1 still, but Metcalf has certainly closed up a little bit on Rory McDuff. We'll also need to see, as Babcock exits the pits, we'll need to see where McDuff and Metcalf exit the pit lane relative to Babcock. Babcock still keeps P3 as he's that far ahead of Zenis and Reed and the 2 Golfs who double stack once again. Good job, Golfs. McDuff enters the pit lane. Metcalf enters the pit lane. Now it's all up to Babcock. Was his outlap good enough to jump the IDOS and the other Gemelli? As he goes through the difficult, tricky boot section of the circuit, through this corner, as both McDuff and Metcalf make their pit stops. Should be about 16 seconds for the pit stops for the both of them. It is lap 25 of 35, so we're going to have 10 laps to go. McDuff exits the pit lane. When does Metcalf exit? Metcalf is slow to exit once again as the Golf of Jason Ho lets McDuff past. Oh, it's going to be close between the Gemellis. See, Babcock on the outside. Metcalf is going to keep the position, P2 actually. Babcock isn't even that close, honestly. So now it's all up to Rory McDuff. It's a straight fight to the finish as Jason Ho, the lapped car, slipstreams McDuff a little bit. All McDuff needs to do is not make a mistake. All he needs to do is not make a mistake and the victory is his. He's got a gap of about 2 to 3 seconds, probably more like 2 seconds on the Gramelli of Metcalf, and Babcock is down to third after being jumped by Metcalf. So McDuff makes a mistake. McDuff goes wide. Metcalf to the lead. Babcock to second. McDuff to third. He's bottled it. All he had to do was not make a mistake, and he's bottled it. What incredible scenes for Rory McDuff. He makes another mistake. I'm sure all his confidence is just shattered now. That's tragic for Rory McDuff. That truly is. As Babcock, as it's now a Gramelli 1-2 with Metcalf P1, Babcock P2, McDuff P3, with Francis Zenes, who still needs to make another pit stop, looking for McDuff's P. Oh dear! Eden Laurent spins. Eden Laurent spins. What a job. What a job. I don't even know what happened there, but Laurent spins. Metcalf leads. Babcock's P2. Oh, Zenes spins. That's a lot of carnage. Oh, Ho almost makes contact with Francis Zenes. That was very close indeed. As now the rest of the battles appear to have shaken out. So the running order... No, we'll wait to give the running order until after Zenes makes his pit stop, as we'll see where everyone is running, as Metcalf is P1, Babcock is P2, McDuff is P3, Zenes is P4, but he still has to make another pit stop. He should come out about P6 or P7 as Francis Zenes comes into the pit lane, handing P4, I believe, to Jason Ho. No, Ho is P5. Jacob Reed is going to be P4 after he overtakes the Michael Motors PRT of Francis Zenes. So Reed is going to be P4. Zenes is going to drop further positions, although perhaps he'll keep P5 actually, because he does have quite a very large gap on Jason Ho, as Laurent is P7, Alfaham is P8, Donaldson is P9, and McKibben is P10. As we sort of just bide our time a little bit. McDuff has to be furious, though, having lost the race with a mistake like that. He's hitting the wall, he's doing all sorts of things, he's pushing his absolute hardest, but there's only so much he can do. It is also worth noting that Babcock, on his having pitted a lap earlier than Metcalf, means he has slightly more fuel than Metcalf does, which means he should be slightly slower than Metcalf. And with Metcalf's pace he's had all day, given he did sit on the pole and was the fastest most of the weekend, it's fair to say that Babcock most likely will not catch up to Metcalf. However, we will see. We will see indeed what Babcock has up his sleeve, because Babcock is a very solid driver. He's not necessarily the fastest, but he finds a way to attempt to do things. As he closes right up to Metcalf. It's not over yet, this battle isn't. Here comes Babcock. Oh, Metcalf into the wall. Here comes Babcock, he's right there. Babcock looking for the lead now on Will Metcalf. Can he do it? He's going to get the slipstream up through these S's. It's a very good way to help out acceleration. However, the top speed is still very much an issue. It is lap 29. Babcock has closed right up to Metcalf in a hurry. Babcock has closed up. He looks around the outside, side by side. No, they're not. Babcock gets into the dirty air a little bit, loses time, loses ground to Metcalf. Can he make it back up? Can he? It is lap 29. Babcock is going to continue to close right up on Will Metcalf. Just a question of if and when he can attempt to move. He had his chance at the end of the backstretch going into the carousel last time. Where's it going to come this time? This battle at the front is very intense. McDuff P3, Reed P4, Zenis P5, Ho P6, Laurent P7, Alfaham P8, Donaldson P9, and McKibben is stopped. That's very concerning for Riley McKibben, but this Grimelli battle up at the front. Metcalf goes a little bit wide. Babcock is now P2, as he was P2 for much of the race, only being P3 for a brief amount of time after the second pit stop, but before McDuff made his mistake. But Babcock is right there. He's right there. He just needs a small mistake from Metcalf. Just a small mistake will do it, and Babcock can take the lead and perhaps get his first win in the Mazda Road to Indy. However, Metcalf is not one to necessarily make mistakes, though he did go wide there. This should help Babcock, as he'll be able to slipstream. Metcalf did not get a great run out of that corner. Babcock's going to have a chance. He's going to look. He's going to dive bomb this corner. Can he make it stick? Babcock into the lead. No. No, Metcalf takes it back. Babcock makes a slight mistake. Sick drifts. But that was Babcock's opportunity to take the lead, and he couldn't take it. We're now going on to lap 31, so there's going to be 5 laps to go. If Babcock is going to make any sort of a move on Metcalf, it's going to need to be rightly in a hurry, because Metcalf is pulling away now. It seems as though Babcock had his opportunity to make a move on Metcalf, but he just could not do it, and now he'll probably have to save some fuel relative to Metcalf due to pitting a lap earlier than Metcalf did, so it's entirely possible Babcock could fall back into the clutches of McDuff. As for now, the race is sort of stagnating. Although, come to think of it, Babcock really is not that far behind Metcalf, is he? As we go on board with him. If Babcock can just stay close to Metcalf, stay in his slipstream, and not get eaten by dirty air, he can have another opportunity at Metcalf. It's just that corner is very important, because it sets you up for this corner, which is full throttle, and the next corner, which is barely a lift, and you need to be close going down this straight and going into turn 1 if you want to have an opportunity down the backstretch. But Babcock really is not that far behind Metcalf. He truly isn't. In fact, he's close enough. He should have another go at Metcalf down the backstretch. Maybe he hasn't used up all his chances here. Maybe he just needs to gain on Metcalf a little bit more, and he can have a run at Metcalf and perhaps take the lead with 4 laps to go. He is right there. He did not lose too much from the dirty air. He just needs to do a bonsai or something, a kamikaze sort of a dive bomb, in order to make the move work on Will Metcalf. McDuff still 3rd, Reed still 4th, Zenis 5th, Ho 6th, Laurent 7th, Alfaham 8th, Donaldson 9th, McKibben 10th. This battle at the front is the most important battle all race long. It's also the closest battle on the track, and it's the battle worth watching, so watch it. We will certainly watch this battle. It appears that Metcalf may be getting away slightly. Babcock does not get a great run through turn 1. He's probably going to have to save a bit of fuel, so he probably won't get too many more chances at Metcalf. There's only 3 laps to go. It appears that Will Metcalf may have this in the bag. As that is Kian Donaldson in the pits. Let's see if McKibben can jump Donaldson now for P9 on the track, as Metcalf pulls away from Babcock. McDuff 3rd, Reed 4th, Zenis 5th, Ho 6th, Laurent 7th, Alfaham 8th, Donaldson in the pit lane. Let's see where McKibben comes out relative to Donaldson. It's a PFM battle for 9th, boys. Oh, Donaldson's about to exit the pit lane, actually, so he's actually got quite a large gap on Riley McKibben. So now the leaders are going to come up to lap Kean Donaldson. This actually might help Babcock out because Metcalf was put into a bit of a compromising position, but Babcock appears to be staying right about where he is. Donaldson in front truly is slow. Babcock puts a mad dive bomb on Donaldson. That's not necessarily ideal, but it's understandable because Babcock is frustrated. He knows that he needs to push now if he wants a chance at the win. He also knows that back markers such as Donaldson slowing him up certainly does not help him in his quest to do that, as well as the fact that Babcock's frustrated. He is. I'm sure he is. He's finished second. He's finished second many times this season in the Mazda Road to Indy, and he wants to win a race, but he knows that his opportunity is slipping away from him. But team boss of Grimelli, Eric Kuchenberger, he could not be more happy with the Grimelli 1-2. Metcalf first, Babcock second. McDuff, just a tragic day for McDuff. Honestly, he led the first 26 or so laps, but he just made a mistake in the third stint, and it put him behind Babcock and Metcalf, and there's just nothing you can do. But fair play to all three of them, Metcalf, Babcock, and McDuff. They've all had flawless races today, and in fact, McDuff is here, and Reed is only just now starting his final lap, so these three have put an absolutely massive gap on the rest of the field. But coming through the final two corners, through the final corner, comes the Grimelli number 7. Will Metcalf wins at Watkins Glen. Babcock P2, McDuff P3. Jacob Reed and Zenis. Zenis battling for 4th with Jacob Reed. Who's going to get it? Zenis gets the position. What can Reed do? Can Reed come back? Zenis goes wide a little bit. Can Reed with the dive bomb perhaps? No. He's not going to be able to do it, at least not yet. Oh dear, that happened. Oh, alright, okay. As this battle for 4th rages on between Reed and Zenis going through the final few corners. Who can get P4? Oh, Jacob Reed goes wide a little bit. Will Zenis make a mistake of some kind? No, he will not. It looks like Francis Zenis is going to get P4. That's an excellent performance from Francis Zenis. Actually, just about exact... Oh, Reed. Reed is out of fuel. Who's P6 and where are they on track? Jason Ho, he was a lap down, so Reed is going to get P5 if he finishes the race. Zenis is P4. Reed is P5. Anyone else that still needs to finish? Alfaham is classified P8. Laurent is P7. Jason Ho is P6. It appears Donaldson's going to be P9. McKibben is P10. But Reed just needs to finish the race now. Can he do it? Can Jacob Reed finish the race? He is going to cross the line barely. He was out of fuel, but then he managed to finish the race anyways. So that's your full results. Will Metcalf P1, James Babcock P2, a 1-2 finish for Grimelli. Then Rory McDuff 3rd for the IDOS team. Francis Zenis 4th for Michael Motors PRT. Jacob Reed 5th for IDOS. Jason Ho 6th for Gulf. Eden Laurent P7 for Grimelli Jr. So that's a very typical result for him, let's be honest. Christian Elfaham 8th. He's apparently still doing laps for some reason, even though the race is over, bro. So that's 8th for the Gramelli team with the Gulf team, excuse me, Gulf Gramelli. Kean Donaldson 9th, and Riley McKibben rounds out the field, both of them for PFM. It's been a good race. I hope to see you all again at round 7, which is Sebring. Alright, so we'll be out then. This has been the Mazda Road to Indy. Thank you for watching.